Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Just last week, we debated the issue of free speech in India's tough sedition law. That was after the Karnataka police registered a sedition case against Amnesty International for azadi slogans that were raised at their seminar. And here we are, barely a week later, looking at a similar debate. This time, actor-turned-politician Ramya, who praised Pakistan, who now faces a sedition complaint filed by a lawyer. Now, the big difference here is that there is no FIR that has been filed against her yet. A court will take a hearing on that next week. But what it does tell us is how easily the sedition law can be misused. Ramya says that she's standing by every word.
I disagree with Mr. Manohar Parikar's comment that Pakistan is hell. It's certainly not hell, and Pakistanis are just like us, and that we were treated very well. I mean, we were well looked after. Looking at the way things are in this country today, and anybody and everybody can be slapped with a sedition case, and I think people are misusing it, and I think it's about time that we really repeal the law.
Joining us on the program tonight, we have Mr. GVL Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, Professor Rakesh Sinha of the RSS. We have Dinesh Kundu Rao, the working president of the Karnataka Congress, Ruchir Joshi, writer and filmmaker, and lawyer Vrinda Grover will be joining us in a little while as well. Mr. GVL Rao, to you first, do you believe in Ramya's specific case that this is something that amounts to a sedition charge? Although a charge hasn't been filed yet, it is a complaint. But by saying that she doesn't agree with Manohar Parikar's views on Pakistan being hell and saying that she actually thinks Pakistanis are good people, do you think it amounts to sedition?
No, I think what the Honorable Judge considers is going to be more appropriate. I will make political comments. Whether it makes a case under 124A is for the judge to decide, and let's have faith in our judicial system. I think the complaint has just been accepted, and it will be heard in a couple of days from now. I think the more important question is this fascination for Pakistan. I think that we have heard not from just Ramya, who's not a very heavyweight politician, but we have seen this from the top leadership of the Congress party. This fascination, and it becomes fashionable in the Congress party to eulogize, to portray Pakistan as a great country. I think they have every right to do so. We have never filed cases against Manish Shankar Iyer. We have never filed complaints against anyone. It's a private complaint against Ramya, and let the court take a view on this.
But I mean, there are a couple of interesting things you're saying, because the court of course will take a view, but what is your view? Does praise of Pakistan amount to sedition? And what do you mean by fascination for Pakistan? Does that again amount to treachery? Does that amount to sedition?
No, as I said, I am not the one to interpret law. I think it's for the courts of the country to interpret law. But for me, as a political representative, we find the Congress party leaderships for a fascination for Pakistan, and the leaders, I think some kind of a fancy for praising everything about Pakistan is something that comes across something very anachronistic and completely out of place at a time when our security forces are fighting a battle at the ground, and when Pakistan is infiltrating troops into the country. You have Salman Khurshid wanting to give a clean sheet to Pakistan. You have Manish Shankar Iyer wanting to take Pakistan's help to remove Prime Minister Modi from his democratically elected government. You have Rahul Gandhi considering Lashkar-e-Taiba not to be a threat. You have Sonia Gandhi, who cries when militants of Indian Mujahideen are killed. So it's a pattern. The Congress party clearly today seems to be
May I
not
just ask a
standing
question?
with the security forces of the
Before
country.
I get the Congress's response, does the Prime Minister also have a fascination for Pakistan, since he went to Lahore and hugged Mr. Sharif only on Christmas Day and had a meal with him?
I think as a head of the government, I think people of the country are the best judge. You see, you don't have to take opinion from me on this. People of the country know there is some diplomatic contact that happens at the level of heads of government, and there is all-round appreciation, as I see, for the Prime Minister's initiative. Prime Minister's handling of relations with all our neighbors are concerned. Our rivals, political rivals, criticize us all the time. That's okay. We don't consider that to be
so you're drawing
sedition.
a distinction.
We don't charge any of them with any cases.
You're drawing a distinction between that fascination and the opposition's supposed fascination on every side, clearly. Ruchir Joshi, let me get you in first before this becomes a Congress BJP war of words. Did you find these words of Mr. Rao very interesting here, that there's not an out-and-out sort of an opinion that he's giving on this sedition complaint against Ramya, but we seem to be getting more and more into a narrative, and this is not just unique to Mr. GVL Rao, but we're seeing it for some time, that anyone who has anything positive to say about Pakistan completely falls into that sort of anti-national bracket. Is that what you're seeing?
I find this complaint completely frivolous and malicious, and I don't know why the judge in the matter has even chosen to accept this complaint, because you see, the point is, sedition is A, an outdated law, B, if somebody is actually being traitorous towards the country, that's a very serious crime, and when people start using that in a flippant and instrumentalist way to just further their own political agenda or to attack a political opponent, then that is akin to using some of the most serious laws in the IPC for your personal benefit. And it's actually, that is the treachery, that is the anti-India, anti-national, anti-constitution thing that has been done by this lawyer who's filed this case. This Ramya may have an opinion. She did not say that the Pakistan government is great. She didn't say ISI is great. She didn't say Lashkar-e-Taiba is great. She just said the people of Pakistan are warm and hospitable, and Pakistan is not hell. Now, a country of several hundred million people cannot be hell. Life may be hell for some of them, just as life is hell for some of India's poorest people. And the powers that be in Pakistan and the powers that be in India, whether they're the Congress government or the BJP, it suits them to keep the pot boiling with Pakistan to enable control of their own country. And the same with Pakistani, whether it's the PPP or Nawaz Sharif or the Pakistani army. We know this. But the basic people of Pakistan are poor and struggling, and some of them might be a bit crazy about how they treat their religions, just as some of our people are. Overall, Pakistan is not a country full of villains. The leaders are problematic, just as ours are.
What?
Now, for someone to say Pakistanis are warm and hospitable, and to be told that they're seditious is patently absurd. And in this case, you know, Veerappa Moily, when he castigated the police people who took the complaint against Amnesty, one has to congratulate him that even with his own government, he said, no, this sedition complaint is completely wrong, and it's a mistake that the policeman has made, and I'll be talking to the law minister. At least he could admit the mistake of his own party.
But let me get Mr. Dinesh Gundu Rao off the Congress party and over here, because Mr. Rao, the problem is that the Congress has been so hypocritical in its position on the sedition law. The Congress has misused this law in the past. You jailed a cartoonist because you felt it was seditious. Poor Asim Trivedi finally got relief from the courts. Initially, your government in Karnataka justified the FIR against Amnesty and then had to backtrack when the Central Congress took a different view. So where does the Congress stand on this? Isn't this just doublespeak and hypocrisy?
No, there's no question of any doublespeak, because the police took a certain decision based upon the complaint, thinking that the complainant is correct, and they have taken their own view on this. And I agree with Mr. Veerappa Moily that it was no need for the police to have put the sedition law. But now, since they had registered the FIR using the sedition law, well, I don't think that will hold, because for the last 8-9 days, the BJP, RSS, Bajrang Dal, ABVP, all have been going around town, protesting, but till now they're not even given one piece of evidence to show that there's any seditious activity that has taken place. So that is one thing. Second thing is, I don't agree. Yes, I agree that sedition law is something we need to really look at, but the way things are being manipulated today, systematically by the BJP and the RSS, using nationalism as something which is a political tool to mobilize public opinion, this is something which is very, very dangerous, because nationalism, we are all nationalists. I will not say that the BJP is anti-national. I will not say that the Communist Party is anti-national, or neither will I make frivolous accusations against anybody. We are all nationalists. We are all proud of our country. But today, unfortunately, the BJP is trying to make political capital out of nationalism and trying to target people.
On the misuse of the sedition law, the Congress is.
I agree that sedition law should not be.
So does there need to be a political consent? Rajnath Singh has already announced that there has to be a relook at the sedition law, that it's too vaguely worded. He said it in Parliament, and therefore a committee is looking at it. What is the Congress's position on that? Given that you also invoke this law whenever convenient.
I agree that the sedition law has to be we have to have a relook, because it has to be looked at very seriously, and it cannot be used frivolously. I don't even think that we require a law now. post-independence, and we need to have a very serious relook. But at the same time, the way the BJP has been talking about Ramya in Karnataka, the way they've been protesting on the streets, telling her to go to Pakistan, telling her to shift residence from here.
But isn't it ironic that Karnataka is ruled by the Congress and you have seen 2 sedition complaints in the last 10 days? Just one against Amnesty,
that's
which
why I'm
the
telling
US
you,
has now spoken about. The US State Department has made a comment on it. And you're in government in Karnataka, Mr. Rao. Who's in government in Karnataka?
I agree that in Ramya's case, sedition law will not even apply. It will be thrown out. I don't know. It's completely frivolous. But even in Amnesty case, I think the police were hasty in putting that section in the FIR. They were hasty. But I'm sure during the charge sheet or whenever the case is closed, all that will get thrown out because there is no evidence. So I firmly believe that police were a bit hasty in that.
I want to ask Professor Rakesh.
But no, I'm saying in the Amnesty.
You're saying that the police acted in haste, which wasn't quite what the Congress said when the complaint was first filed. Professor Sinha, let me though ask you the bigger question here, which is in a sense what we brought up right in the beginning. The Congress says nationalism is being used as a political tool. Are people who praise, if somebody says Pakistanis are nice people, do you think that's seditious?
No, I think there is 2 dimensions of the entire episode. One is that there should be democratic debate on the sedition law, and constitutional democratic debate should decide what are the inaccuracies in this law, and it should be reframed. There is no 2 opinion about this. I think there is a consensus in this country that this law should be debated, and we should reframe in the present context, because this was framed by the colonial government. Second, a more important thing is that I am really surprised to see the obsession of certain people with the BJP and RSS. It is the lawyer who filed the sedition case. He belongs to Congress. The actress who had given the statement, she belongs to Congress. So where is the BJP, RSS in this entire?
No, the lawyer does not belong to the Congress party.
Right,
this is a false
say
statement.
Something about the Pakistan.
It's got nothing to do with the Congress party.
Let me complete.
Why are you making such false statements?
Sir,
he is an advocate.
No, other people have right to protest and other people have right to ask her to apologize. There is nothing wrong. This is the freedom of expression. The freedom of expression is not selective for you.
Do not make false statements here.
Second thing that I am giving
the
one important.
Does she need to apologize
let me
that
complete.
The people that Pakistanis are nice people, really?
There is a Nidhi, there is a timing and time and context are very important for any statement. I think this is a very provocative difference of opinion. Because once the defense minister is saying, and Pakistan is engaged in a kind of indirect war against India. You just see on the borders what Pakistan is doing. And there is a human rights violation in Pakistan. You are glorifying Pakistan. Just see the Pakistani newspapers highlighted her statement. And the Pakistani newspaper wrote that how Indian government is making a wrong propaganda against Pakistan. People from India coming Pakistan, they are highlighting the good things of Pakistan. So I think that this is the time and context which decides the merit of the statement. Second thing, I would remind my Congress gentlemen.
No, but let me just come in here.
1 second.
Nidhi,
People don't have a right to disagree with Manohar Parikar's
just
opinion. I'm just asking if somebody can have a different view. Firstly, like Ruchir said,
I
she
don't
didn't
think
say
that this is
that she
sedition.
loves the ISI or the Lashkar e Taiba. She's saying Pakistani people were warm and hospitable. I am asking that is it seditious
Nidhi, can I make a comment
to say
here?
that? One second, Mr. Rao. I'm just asking Professor Sinha this question. Is it seditious to say Pakistanis are, in general, warm and hospitable? That was her impression. Is that seditious?
No one has a right to have his or her own opinion about Pakistan. There is nothing like that. That is a sedition. But here, what I say, in 1959 to 62, when there was Chinese aggression in India, anyone using Mao's photo, using the relationship with China, were declared anti-national. They were imprisoned, and I think more than 5,000 CPM people who later formed the CPM, they were in jail. That's why I say.
So are we heading that way?
Here,
Pakistan. Are we going to jail people?
I think that's an absurd argument. Nidhi, can I come in here, please?
Ruchir wants to come in and then
Nidhi, I want to
here. Sorry, interrupting on that
I'm
point.
sorry, but this is the kind of.
Nidhi, I can make a comment here.
Ruchir Joshi. Yeah.
No, Nidhi. I'm sorry. This is the kind of cheating that the RSS, BJP always do, and the Congress is not above it either. But this woman has just simply said that Pakistani people are warm. This gentleman, Mr. Sinha, is connecting it to people keeping photographs of Mao. I'm sorry. Ramya is not keeping photographs of Nawaz Sharif or the Army General of Pakistan, and if she is also, that's within her freedom of speech. We are not at war with Pakistan.
She can keep the photograph. I don't say
so
that
what?
she can't
Exactly.
keep.
And
what
this
I say that
nonsensical
time and
idea
context are very important. When the government of India
is
and
wrong.
I have a
Pakistan
question
are
for Mr.
at
Sinha.
the
One
same
second.
stage, at the international platform, they are fighting
Professor
against each
Sinha,
other.
one moment,
Then Indian is
And
going
what is
for
this
Pakistan,
nonsense?
glorifying Pakistan. That is
Absolute
important. That
nonsense.
is a political
And
case. I don't say it
there
is
is
a
nothing
sedition case of sedition.
but
It
she
is a
shouldn't say
political
anything
case.
good about
And I
Pakistan.
think this is a very
And the
provocative
timing
political
is wrong.
statement by Ramya.
Who are you to decide our timing?
If
that
it's a
is absolute
provocative
nonsense.
statement,
I'm
can
sorry.
I ask
This
why
is
Rajnath Singh went to
dishonesty.
No, I have my
Why
own
did
view on
Rajnath
this.
Singh
I
go
have
to
my own
Pakistan
view
for
to
the SARC
decide.
meeting? Why did Rajnath Singh go to Pakistan for the SARC meeting? Why don't we just cut off diplomatic
Now,
relations with Pakistan?
how
Let's
did
recall our High
Pakistan behave with
Commissioner,
Rajnath
throw the
Singh?
High
That
Commissioner
I
up and toss it
am
out.
telling. Actually, I'm
I'm
trying
just
to put
asking
the
if it's
point
come to
And
that.
why did Mr.
Pakistan
Doval
is
invite
behaving
somebody
like
to come in and look
Pakistan
at
is
the
behaving like a
when the
terrorist
attack
state.
took place in India? Pakistani
Okay,
security
I want to
agencies.
get a perspective on the
Is he
law
seditious?
itself from Vrinda Grover, who joins us. Before I get to Mr. GVL Rao, Vrinda's just come in on this. We've already heard the government actually admitting, Rajnath Singh, as I said before you came, saying that this law is too vague. We need to look at a way to redefine it. But I don't see any political party actually sticking its neck out and saying do away with it. Everyone's trying to find a way to keep it there, but in some other form.
Absolutely, because each party, when in authority, would like to have a tool. And it's much better to have a legal tool than an extraneous tool in which to suppress and control people. And that is not permissible either under the Indian Constitution with the freedoms enshrined therein or in a democracy. You know, if what Ramya has said, which has caused this outburst, it has actually reached the theatre of the absurd if it did not carry as serious consequences as it does for the individual and for us as a citizenry. In fact, the court says that if, and that is precisely the reason why 66A was struck down, on which across party everybody came out saying we are votaries for freedom of speech. Why was 66A struck down? It was overbroad. It was having a chilling effect. The sedition law is not only overbroad and having a chilling effect, it is having very serious consequences on lives of individuals, and it is having a stifling effect on us expressing our opinions. Of course, there are people in Pakistan, and I would say there are I have many friends who are Pakistanis. All of us as Indians have friends. If we are going to be threatened, that if we are going to say anything, whether it is quote unquote political or provocative, it is not the business of government to keep wagging a finger or beating us with a stick. That is not the job of a government. The government's job is to provide access to and enjoyment to our rights. If they are going to say that the only thing they have to offer us is hyper-nationalism, it's not going to work. Article 19 is about freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression is paramount. Sedition will survive unconstitutionality as per the Kedarnath judgment only, and
If it
only
incites
if
violence.
it will not contradict freedom of speech and expression, not contravene, and there must be an intimate connection, an immediacy, an imminence with violence. There is none whatsoever.
Yeah.
In fact, what we are seeing today is when any citizen exercises their freedom of speech and expression, and that exercise is when you will dissent, when you will disagree. That is the exercise of the right. It is the government and its men and on the ground who are actually creating public disorder, who are inciting violence. The onus is on them. They should be booked for breach of peace.
Well, the important thing to clarify here is that there is a lawyer. This is a private complaint that he has filed, and no FIR has been registered yet. But yes, the court has taken note of
I
it.
think what we have to also remember, what is the political climate we create?
So you blame the
And
political
if
climate for this.
The political climate is created by the political leadership and its affiliates.
Mr. GVL Rao, and although I have to say, I see the Congress misusing the sedition law just as much.
Of course,
Can I-
the Congress
can I-
has done
can I
it
make
too.
my
Mr. GVL Rao
Can I
alone,
make a
please.
comment?
Mr.
Can I
GVL
make
Rao,
my comment?
Mr.
I'm really
GVL Rao
surprised
only,
how
please.
they are fascinated by Pakistan.
Mr.
They
Sinha,
are
one
giving
moment.
clean sheet to Pakistan.
I think this.
I think I'm really surprised.
Mr. Sinha, you would be surprised at any citizen exercising or enjoying their rights.
Mr. GVL Rao,
The
please.
Prime Minister, Nidhi, let me.
The Prime Minister can
I
go and
think
hug
Indian
and give
Prime
gifts.
Minister and the
We
Home
cannot
Minister,
Can I-
other
can I-
ministers have made the honest efforts to have a good relationship with Pakistan. It is
Okay,
the Pakistan
Professor
which
Sinha,
has
one
created
moment,
such a
one moment.
polluted
Let Mr. Rao, let
atmosphere.
Mr.
When
GVL Rao
where
come in. He's been
Pakistan is
waiting to
engaged
speak.
anti-India propaganda, you are glorifying
No, but first of all,
Okay,
Nidhi,
one
Mr.
second,
Sinha is
Professor.
saying blatant
Mr.
lies over
GVL
here.
Rao, Mr.
Can
GVL
I-
Rao,
Congress-
please. Everyone else.
He's
No,
saying
I
one
think
second.
Nidhi-
Only Mr. GVL Rao. Yes, Mr. Rao.
Yeah, I think there is something, there is propaganda and there is reality. what Ms. Brinda Grover is talking about is propaganda. I think I
was
will
quoting
use
the
your
Supreme
own,
Court of
I will
India.
paraphrase your own program,
I was
Truth
quoting the
versus
Supreme
Hype.
Court.
Let me finish. Truth versus, your own program titled Truth versus Hype. 2014, 47 cases of sedition were filed in different states of the country.
It's terrible, and the
47
Congress
cases
is an
in
authoritarian
2014.
government.
And not one in a BJP ruled states except one in Chhattisgarh. 46 cases were filed in Congress ruled states, opposition ruled states, and all these people who are making this song and dance about it and criticizing our government, they are the perpetrators. 6,000 people, villagers, were slapped with sedition cases when the UPA was in power. In Kudamkulam project in
Yes.
Tamil Nadu,
Yes.
6,000 cases
You're
at
so
one
right,
go.
Mr. Rao. And I
And the
wish you would
Congress
ask
party
your
today,
partner.
Congress party has the audacity today to criticize us.
The Congress party can speak
I
for
think the
itself,
Congress
Mr.
does.
Rao.
Nidhi,
We as human rights activists
Nidhi,
and
can I
human
make a
rights
comment
lawyers
here?
objected.
No, we were-
Objected
the
and
Kundakulam
criticized
case
the
is
use of
different,
sedition.
and
Yes, in Kudakulam.
here you're talking
In
about
Bihar,
something about
go
nationalism
on
and
the
trying to
left
impose
in
something over here,
Your
which is not
ally,
correct.
When
please
the-
ask
when
Mr.
the
How can you
Jayalalitha,
try and
your
impose your
ally,
ideology on the
to
people?
withdraw the sedition cases.
How can you force your opinion
Withdraw
on people's
the
throats?
ally.
cases in Kudakulam.
She's
Ask your ally.
she's your
The
party's
Kundakulam
ally.
project
ask
was
your
a
ally
nuclear
to withdraw
project
them.
which was in the interest of the country.
But GVL Rao
And whether
has
it is
a
right or
point.
wrong, that's a different issue.
No.
But here it's a
but then
question
come
of
out,
freedom
why
of
doesn't the
liberty,
Congress
freedom
come
of
out and
speech.
say repeal this law? Are you
I
going
am
to admit
saying
that you
that the
misused
issue
the
today,
sedition
do
law?
not link it to Kundakulam, because the issue today is the freedom of speech and the way they are maligning
But you
people.
don't
They
care
try to
about that
impose a
freedom
certain
of speech when
nationalism.
you're in power.
We are
Mr. Rao,
discussing
that's the
sedition.
point. When
The
the Congress is in power, it
Today,
didn't
the way
care
they are
about that freedom of
behaving,
speech.
they are behaving like goons. They are entering people's
You're not answering my
houses.
question.
They are destroying furniture.
You
What
did
is your
the same
question?
thing when you were in
You-
power. Why
you
did you
are
jail
one.
Asim Trivedi, who was a
I am
cartoonist because you
saying
didn't like his
that
cartoon?
do not. Now we are talking about an issue today which is concerning nationalism
it has to be
and
connected
something
to the past.
which is about patriotism. Someone talks
No,
about
we are
Pakistan,
discussing
you
sedition
become
law.
anti-national. Someone speaks about Bangladesh, they become anti-national. Someone doesn't fit into
So
your,
is that
the
the
Hindutva
Congress
ideology,
view?
they become
Is
anti-national.
Ramya's view? Can I ask Mr. Gundu Rao? Is Ramya's view? Is it the Congress party's official
So
view?
irrelevant. Why
Does
can
it
you
matter?
say
Let
no?
him
Yes.
defend her.
It is
Why are you
irrelevant because
precipitating
Ramya
a
is talking
situation
about her
which
personal
talks about
experience.
rights?
No,
It's a
is it-
personal
is it
experience
the
of what
Congress party's
she
view?
felt
The
when she went to
Congress is
Pakistan.
not the upholder
Today
of
is the
freedoms and
BJP's
rights.
view
The
is,
people of this
tomorrow
country
we do not
are.
like Pakistan, we won't talk to them. Is that the BJP? Then why did Mr.
You know,
why
but
did the Prime Minister
it-
go
no,
to
in
Pakistan?
all of this, you
why
know,
did they go and have
Ruchir-
dinner
Ruchir Joshi-
with the Prime Minister of
Ruchir
Pakistan?
Joshi, let me just ask you as we slowly wrap up. I think the point is,
It's
and
our own personal
this
view.
is getting lost in all the noise that we see today. You can disagree. There are plenty of people who will disagree with Ramya and say, I don't agree with her. I think she's nuts. Shouldn't have said it. They're not nice people, whatever. But does it amount
but
to
Nidhi, there's
sedition?
a-
And that,
there's a
Richard,
certain
is the question
clarification
at the
here.
end of the day. That does, you know, I
Nidhi,
said the
there's a
same
certain
thing during the
clarification
Amnesty
here.
debate. There are plenty of people who don't agree with those azadi slogans. I don't agree with them. But do they have the right to say them? Perhaps. It doesn't matter. I don't think the country is going to break up because of some slogans. I certainly think India is stronger than that. Ruchir.
I think this tutu meme between the Congress and the BJP is quite tiresome because actually both the governments have been guilty of misusing sedition laws and slapping cases on people when they've seen fit, whether it's Maoists or supposed Maoists or whether it's the protests against the nuclear plant and now the BJP is doing it. So it's like a vicious circle created by both these big parties and indeed by some of the state governments slapping false cases or frivolous cases against freedom of speech, as we've seen in Bengal and other places. So I think a larger debate about freedom of speech, as Brinda is saying, we need to examine the laws that have a chilling effect. We need to examine the laws that can be misused either by Narendra Modi today or by Chidambaram tomorrow or by Mamata Banerjee day after tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
the point is the
absolutely.
laws need to be examined, rejigged,
Yeah.
and thrown out. Some of these laws, 377, the Sedition Law, the Cinematograph Act, these are ancient, decrepit laws used by the British to try and control Indians. We don't need them anymore, and we
All
need
right.
to have a complete revamping. But no government, like Modi's government or the previous Congress government, didn't have the courage to take on that task.
Well, let's see.
So
what-
we as a people
I
have to
I
then
really
demand and
doubt
start
whether there is a
the debate.
political will, Ruchir, on the part of any party at this point to completely repeal this. The Home Minister's proposed changes. I'll have to wait and see, and we'll all have to wait and see what those changes actually do amount to. Thank you very much to all
My
of you
suspicion will be
for
the
joining
Home
us.
Minister
That
will make more
hearing in
repressive changes.
Ramya's case is
Because
on the
if somebody
27th
tells
of
me,
August.
Nidhi,
Yeah, I
Nidhi,
have to end
somebody
it there.
tells
I
me that
have to end it
criticize
there,
the defense
Ruchir.
minister.
Yeah,
It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, we're going to take this offline. Thank you to you all for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. See you then.